We all got 10 minutes,
Yeah.
and this is one of the most successful people I've ever met. So 10 minutes, your most important advice.
Yeah. So I have a new book coming out. It's called Muscle for Life. Comes out January 11th, coming up. And it's particularly to help people reach that critical mass, help people go from zero to that virtuous cycle phase of fitness where they're getting results and they're getting motivated. They want to keep going. They're enjoying the process. And in the book, I talk about the secret sauce, right? Of the fitness elite. What is it? And it's really just three things. And these are the fundamentals, something I talk about in the book too. Really the key is focusing on the fundamentals, the 20% that gives you the 80%. So people who stay in great shape, they generally, one, they control their calories and their protein. Doesn't mean they count calories, doesn't mean they count protein. They control their calories and their protein. And many people, they have learned along the way, they understand why calories matter. They understand why a high protein diet is good. They have internalized that information. And now if you were to look at their calorie intake, it's going to be pretty consistent on a day-to-day basis. It'll have its ups and downs, but pretty consistent. And they're going to be eating plenty of protein. That's one thing. Another thing is they mostly eat nutritious foods. It doesn't have to be 100% of calories. And in my Muscle for Life book and all my books, I've said from the beginning, there are no foods that are off limits. I want people to eat foods that they like. Now, if all you like is hot dogs and pizza, I'm going to challenge you to maybe expand your culinary horizons, right? But they mostly, let's just say 80% of the food they eat is nutritious stuff. And then for indulgences, if they want to, they can include other stuff. That's key. And then the final thing is they exercise. They train a few hours per week and mostly to gain muscle and strength. Cardiovascular training is very valuable, and I talk about that in the book. But for people who only have a few hours per week, I'm gonna ask them
and
to
maybe
spend.
You could touch on that right now. So you have cardio, which we all do.
Yep.
But then you have strength. So for longevity, why do we have to throw in the strength? Why is that important?
I mean, I would say it's probably the other way. It's probably the better question would be the other way around. For longevity, why would we have to do the cardio? And I do think it's important. I talk about that in the book. And the reason I say that is for a very long time now, strength training was not recommended in like doctors. They would not tell their patients to start picking up weights and picking up the heavy things and putting them down, right? They would say do cardio, and there's nothing wrong with cardio. And again, I talk about why I do cardio every day, why I recommend it. But the strength training for longevity is
that's the foundation.
Is the foundation. I mean, just look at and you guys will appreciate this. Look at the mobility and the functionality that comes with being strong, especially in the context of getting older, right? So if you're 70 and you're strong, guess what's not going to happen to you? You're not going to try to walk down. Exactly. You're not going to walk down the stairs and then, you're just not strong enough. Your leg gives out and now you broke a hip and now you're in the hospital and things can go very south from there. That's not going to happen to you. So that's just a matter of surviving. But then think of, I'm sure, I mean, hey, if I can make it to 80, I want to be the best 80 that I can have. Right. And so let's talk about thriving. So now, okay, we have a strong body. We're not going to be susceptible to just random weird injuries. But now we're also going to be able to do things with our body too. It'd be fun at 80 to still be able to play basketball. In some, maybe you can't play to the same level you can now, but you can still get out there.
Imagine going and even shooting some shots with your grandson. Just having to be on the side.
Being out there for an hour with your grandson and you can keep up. And I mean, this is
actually what we're all passionate about. Yeah. Because for me, it was my knees breaking down at a young age, knowing that my life was going to look like crap.
Yep.
And then Derek's 43 and it's like the youngest, 43-year-old I've ever seen.
And I was broken down at 21, had to take injections in my hips to get through college basketball games.
Oh, wow.
Ankles, knees. When I met Ben, I was destroyed. So
wow. Now with him, I've known him for years. He's never going through you're never going through those yo-yos. So you're living what you preach. You always would look killer at the beach, yet you're not having all the injuries in the gym. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you're living it. Now we know that with the diet and the exercise, life is kind of rigged against us.
Yep.
We have so many things to do.
Strong headwinds.
There's so much junk food that's much easier and more accessible. So we were looking at what do you think is, so you went over the three common denominators. What is the first win with exercise? The first win, because most people, like the average person, like you said, we see them walk by here all day and they're 55 and don't know how to lift a weight and have given up.
I've not seen one person walk by without a limp.
Yeah.
All losses. Yeah. So what's the first win on exercise and what's the first win on diet?
Yeah, it's a good question. I like this approach, this tiny habit approach, to use a term from BJ Fogg, book by the same title. And so the idea is, tiny habits. Can we start with something that is so easy, so to speak, that you can't say no to it? And in your mind, there's no friction. That's the key, right? So for exercise, it could simply be going for a 15-minute walk outside every day. Hey, preferably in nature, if you can get around some nature, because you're probably going to feel better just walking around with pretty stuff around you. And so I would ask somebody, again, let's talk to the 55-year-old guy or gal, and they're very out of shape and they have a lot of weight to lose. Okay, cool. That's what we're starting with. I would ask them, can you commit to that? Could you go for a 15-minute walk every day? And if their instinctive reply is yes, no problem, great, we start there, right? Now, let's say I were to ask for 30 minutes and there was some hesitation because they're not sure if they can make it 30 minutes, for whatever reason. It wouldn't be productive to try to bargain or argue. I would just ask, okay, forget 30. Can we do 15? All right, great. 15. Good. So then once they are in the habit, and we know we're in the habit, right? When it becomes mentally more uncomfortable to consider not doing it than doing it, right? And when we get to that point where we're going to bed at night and we know that at 8 a.m. we're out the door for our 15-minute walk. Like the only way it doesn't happen is if we just die in our sleep. Okay, good. Then you've got that habit, right? So once they've got that habit, then I would ask, can we up that to 30? All right, great. Let's do that. And then from there, maybe we will transition into a little bit of resistance training. And so that would be on the exercise side of things. Very simple. On the diet side of things, there are different ways to go with that. It kind of depends on the person's circumstances. It could be something like asking them to add 1 serving of protein to their meal plan. Eat exactly the way they're eating right now, but can we just take 1 meal and add some protein to it? Okay, good. Can we add 1 serving of vegetables somewhere in there? Okay, good. When those things are in,
huge. Those are 2 wins.
Yep. Can we drink more water?
Yeah.
Can we drink more water while we're eating? And those things I like also because they improve satiety. So naturally by eating a bit more protein, having some vegetables, drinking some more water, they're going to be less hungry. And that's going to help them better control their calories. And, because when it comes to losing weight and maintaining weight, beating hunger, it really is half of the game. It is so hard. And I'm sure you guys have experienced this. A lot of people listening have probably experienced this. Even when you know what you're doing and you're a fitness person, it's still hard. I want to drop 5 pounds, 10 pounds or whatever. It's very hard to do it if you are hungry most of the time. So beating hunger is very important.
Yeah. And like I asked you before, man, how important is psychology? And I like the analogy you gave me when it came to the beans.
Yeah. I think it's a useful little test, right?
Yeah.
So as far as hunger goes, and this has been researched, how much of it is when we say I'm hungry or we feel compelled to eat food, is this biological hunger? Is this quote unquote true hunger, or is it more psychological in nature? Is this just a desire to eat because of some emotional reason or some other reason, just some sort of mental trigger or whatever? And a simple test that we can do with ourselves is, okay, so we feel an urge to eat something. We would say, I'm hungry, right? Is imagine, and it's usually I'm hungry, and then there's a food associated with it. I'm like, I could really go. I could really go for some tacos or some pizza or whatever, right? And you could imagine if you had a bowl of just cooked beans, would you eat the beans? If you would eat the beans, that's biological hunger. If you would not eat the beans, it's probably more psychological in nature. And that's not to say that there's anything wrong with experiencing psychological. No, there's nothing wrong with that. We all experience it, but it's helpful to make that distinction for yourself and to understand that it's okay to feel hungered, to feel a compulsion to eat food. There's nothing wrong with that. But by separating those things out, it can help you better manage it and not necessarily just immediately indulge it.
Create space and awareness.
Exactly.
Yep. We are probably hitting about 10 minutes. Yeah. We have to add up wins, to get to where we want to go.
Yeah.
He's living proof of that. To go out on a psychological note though, we've been friends for a while, but I just ran into him on the street yesterday, invited him to come sled with us at 9 a.m. and then podcast. And he's probably the most successful guy I personally know, meaning there's so much going on in his life. There's so many reasons that he could say he's busy. And we got here, recorded the podcast, and the audio didn't work. And then he didn't make one gripe about that. If you went to 100 people, how many would, in his shoes? But to me, that That's the secret sauce right there.
I mean, showing up is half of any game, right?
Exactly.
It really is.
Man, that's powerful. You're right.
But he did it, and you show up one step at a time. And now look where you are. You know what I mean? So at some point, what was it, 10, 15 years ago?
Yeah.
And anyways, I think that's absolutely unbeliable. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
One
One last
question,
question, man.
We don't got any more questions.
No, one more. If one word that would describe you.
Oh, then that's so.
One word, man. One word.
What was it?
You ain't gonna beat me
You know
up,
the
man.
reason? No, the reason it's just not my.
Exactly.
He is fucking
Jeez.
shredded though, man. Yeah.
Maybe not as shredded as you, but I'm fit. One word. Oh, that's actually a hard question because I don't think I'm not a person. I don't think much about myself, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't take myself I don't consider myself an important person or a special person. But I don't.
Man, you gotta be cocky right now. Just give it out. It's a word coming to your head. Next time.
So that kind of answers the question, though.
The writer who can't think of the word.
But he's writing books to help other people. He's not thinking about himself.
Yeah.
So his book comes out January 11th.
111.
It's gonna be everywhere, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
Everywhere, huge.
Doing a big launch.
Give us the title again.
Muscle for Life. It's muscleforlifebook.com. I'm doing a big giveaway, giving away I think we're up to $13,000 in stuff.
Wow.
So we've been contacting companies, a lot of cool stuff too, and asking them, hey, we're going to do this big thing, New York Times bestseller deal, whatever. And do you want to give us some stuff? So we're giving away a bunch of stuff for people who pre-order the book.
Amazing. Muscleforlifebook.com.
Yeah.
Also, Bigger, Leaner, Stronger, and Thinner, Leaner, Stronger, that you can go on Amazon right now.
Yep.
And get him. He has his own podcast. So any of these subjects you want to dive into deeper, incredible free articles, podcast. He has the only supplements I've taken for the last 5 years. One of the pioneers of actually saying what's in the product and putting real effective doses in the products.
Living proof.
So thanks for everything you're doing. Thanks for paving the way. Thanks for being a beast today.
Man,
thank you.
it's all love, man. Came in here and did round 2 for me.
Yeah.
Love, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, man. I appreciate it, man. You want to give us your gratitude, man, real quick? Huh?
So I couldn't get. I don't know how to describe myself. I'd be curious what other people. What's the one word you use?
Yeah, you should have flipped it. Yeah. Ben said it though, man. Shredded, genius. Yeah, monster. But I appreciate y'all. Make you for life signing out. This is recorded.
Ay.